CFRL News at 7 p.m. Good evening, I'm Daniel Monroy. Mainly cloudy and windy with a good chance of showers in the evening. Right now in London, it's 12 degrees. The U.S. President Joe Biden asks Florida residents to evacuate and listen to local officials due to the hurricane, calling it, quote, literally a matter of life and death. The storm is expected to bring a deadly storm, rain, and winds. During a hurricane meeting at the White House today, Biden asked FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell about how badly Milton appears to be.
Ever seen a storm like this one since you've been in charge?
I think this is going to be one of the biggest ones that we have seen after it makes landfall. I mean, we saw a lot of impact from Hurricane Ian, but this one is different. This one just looks different, and I think we're going to have a lot of impacts and people that are going to need our help, sir.
The European Union has launched a humanitarian air bridge operation for Lebanon. Tom Rivers has more information.
Flights will depart from Dubai and Brindisi, with the first one arriving in Beirut in 2 days. In Brussels, an EU spokesman says what'll be on board:
blankets and emergency shelter material and many others. This, of course, comes on top of the large amount of medicine and medical equipment that we have been channeling in via the EU civil protection mechanism.
Lebanon's government estimates that some 1.2 million people have been displaced in the fighting. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
Market Lane will host on Saturday, October 12th, the Pupusas Festival. The event is being organized by David Ayala, co-founder of Culture X. Pupusas Festival runs from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. This will be the first time locals can enjoy a dedicated event featuring pupusas, along with other Latin foods, artisanal goods, and live music. Ayala shares its significance and expected impact.
I know that a lot of people confuses them with the gorditas from Mexico or arepas from Colombia, but they're their own thing, believe me. We have a lot of people who loves the pupusas, but we never had a pupusa festival. So that's why the idea came to mind, and I was like, let's do it.
The London Food Bank is struggling to meet demand. Mary Ann McDowell, an employee at the food bank, says while donations have remained consistent, the amount of people requiring assistance has nearly doubled since the beginning of pandemic. She attributes part of the problem to the ever-rising cost of living.
Because the reality is that food banks are not the solution to poverty in any way, shape, or form. So there needs to be a buy-in from governments for like a living wage or a basic income or both.
A new study published in JAMA Network Open states about serious mental health disorders and thoughts of suicide are more frequent among people who are transgender or gender diverse in Canada. Nicole Ireland has more information.
The University of Ottawa study looked at StatCan data and found transgender people were 3 times more likely to have depression, bipolar disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and social phobia than cisgender people. They were also 3 times more likely to have had serious thoughts of suicide and 6 times more likely to have attempted it during their lifetime. Dr. Sarah Fraser, a family doctor in Halifax who was not involved in the study, says the results are unfortunately not surprising, noting her trans patients are regularly followed, harassed, or even physically assaulted just for being who they are. Nicole Ireland, The Canadian Press, Toronto.
In sports, change is coming at Toronto FC, and while the club was just eliminated from playoffs, work has been underway for months on what's needed to revive the position of the Major League Soccer franchise. On NHL, the Toronto Maple Leafs will play the Canadiens today at 7 p.m. The Leafs will also play the Devils tomorrow at 7 p.m. and will play the Penguins on Saturday at 7. And the Detroit Red Wings will face the Pittsburgh Penguins tomorrow at 8 p.m. For the postseason of Major League Baseball, Detroit Tigers are facing the Cleveland Guardians 3 times this week. Tigers blanked Guardians 3-0 on Monday. Today, Tigers just blanked the Guardians 3-0 once again, and both teams will also face tomorrow at 6 p.m. London weather. Cloudy and windy with a good chance of showers early this evening. Tonight will remain partly cloudy and will dip down to 1 degree. Tomorrow will remain mainly cloudy with a high of 16. And on Friday, we will have a beautiful sun that will go up to 22. Right now in London, it's 12 degrees. I'm Daniel Monroy, and we'll have more news at 8 p.m.